You are listening to the Salvywood podcast.
Hi everyone, my name is Rodas and welcome back to Salvadoran podcast. Today I am joined by Mr. Hario from Avid Promotions. Thank you, Mr. Hario, for joining me today.
Thank you for the invite.
So if you could tell us a little bit about Avid Promotions and how everything got started.
Perfect. So Avid Promotions was founded 1999.
Okay.
I acquired the business in 2016. Personally, myself, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I started with Better Tomorrow Education in 2009. And as things changed, I decided to diversify. And that's when I acquired Avid Promotions in 2016. And 8 years later, here we are.
Can you share with us what Avid Promotions, what they do? And maybe you could tell us the early beginnings of acquiring Avid Promotions.
So it's definitely a lesson. So when I acquired it, I personally, like I said, always had the business mentality, had little to no knowledge of marketing, had no knowledge of promotional products. When everyone would tell me a price point followed by a letter, I had no idea that was a code. So when I acquired it, was a big learning curve. I paid because it had a real good client base. I paid because it had a good employee at the time. And when I got it, it was, okay, how are we going to scale this business? And that was the biggest challenge to me, because not only did I just have to learn a business, I also had to scale it because I also had to pay back a loan that I utilized to acquire the business. So the first year was a big learning curve. It was, for example, promotional products. It was a pouch. I clearly remember, I don't want to state the client, great client of mine till this day, but it was a pouch, and it was a 5x7 pouch that they wanted. When they finally placed the order, they got the sample, they loved it, 5x7. When I placed the order, I put 3.5 at the end. Little did I know that the pouch was going to come 3x5 inches. So when the client gets a product and phone call, hey, this isn't the right size. That was the first learning curve. And it was basically where Avid, I felt, started going up, because I made sure that everybody was getting the education, everybody was learning. The beginning was very difficult. The first 2 years was, like they say, as long as you get it out within the first few years, your business will succeed. Those 2 years were the trenches, because you had to do a lot of legwork. You had to change and diversify your whole clientele. Our biggest client literally got acquired by a Chinese company within my first 2 years.
Okay.
So that company made up close to 48% of our sales. So when you lost that client, it was you either fold or you had to go out there and acquire a whole new client base and diversify. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned from then. So yeah, that was the start, but it was fun. I mean, it was, you keep learning, you keep growing, but within that whole time frame, it was just diversification, because that's what that little life lesson taught me at that point. When you lose one client, you can't be so subjective to one client. You have to make sure that not one client's making up almost 50% of your business, because they have too much power within your organization without having it.
Okay. And how old were you at the time when this happened?
27.
27. Oh, okay. Can you share with us your journey at USC? You're a former alumni, student alumni?
So yeah, definitely. Fight on. So SC came, fast forward, COVID comes, and I remember I was unloading a truck. At the time, Avid Promotions, we were doing promotional products, branding.
Okay.
And COVID hits, no one's having events. Schools are now going home. Like, they're not sending swag bags at the beginning. So the whole industry just shut down, basically. And leading up to it, I was just like, all right, how could we make sure that we stay relevant, that we have a business avenue? Because I do have employees that I got to feed at the end of the day. Right. And I said, all right, let's jump into this PPE thing. And I remember one day I was at LA Metro, we were unloading a container. And as I'm unloading this container, a filled container with the mask on, it's over 100 degrees outside, I thought to myself, someone is making money here by just getting this container here.
Right.
And I kept hearing a word called supply chain. So I go home and I looked up what supply chain was, and I said, okay, it's already what I'm doing, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
And I put top supply chain schools in the US, and USC popped up. Michigan State popped up. So I applied them both, and I got into USC. And what sold me at USC is that we were supposed to have a trip to Singapore during COVID. And I said, well, let me go to Singapore. It's, efficient. Everybody talks about it. Their port is one of the best, if not one of the leaders in the world.
Okay.
And I decided to go there. And honestly, the experience at USC was amazing, from the professors to the connections you make to the individuals that you work with. The professors are one thing, the professional networking is another, but the individuals, your classmates, it's a lot of people talk about that they become family, that you become part of a Trojan family.
Right.
Leading up to it, I did talk to a few individuals to make sure I was making the right decision.
Okay.
Little did I expect what I received from it. I mean, it just grew business. I feel you work with someone, you're talking to someone, you see something Trojan there, it's an automatic connection. Like, oh, you went to USC? Oh, yeah. And you talk about it. And it's just an automatic connection. I feel that it's opened up many doors for us in business today. So, yeah, the experience there was amazing. The professors were amazing. Changes your mindset.
Okay.
I feel it makes you think differently because you're now subjective to other points of views that I like to refer to some of my professors as surgeons.
Okay.
Because they're making sure you're not doing it on the body, but you're doing it in a business.
Right.
And for most people, they don't understand that until you're sitting there and you're hearing these individuals talk and putting you in a different game. And I felt that's what gave me the best experience, the connections, but also your mindset. Once you walk out of there, you're wired differently. And I truly believe that as an individual, you could apply that to other portions.
Awesome. I like that. Now, you touched based on COVID in your experience. Can you share with us, when COVID happens, how does Avid Promotion redirect themselves through their business model?
I said I clearly remember, like, when things were going to go south, I remember just being at home, drinking a bottle of wine, working, and just clearly thinking to myself, I've been a business owner for so long. I've been doing it for so long. It might be time to potentially look at corporate, because I knew my tutoring business was going to slow down completely because we had a learning center, and I knew that was going to slow down. Avid, I started thinking, there's not going to be events. There's not going to be all the schools that I work with. They're not going to need t-shirts. They're not going to need water bottles. And I felt, if I don't talk to my team, work with my team, and create a strategy that's going to work today, understanding the demand that's going to basically come upon us,
right,
we're going to fail. And in our industry, a lot of companies did close. The promotional products industry, multiple companies grew tremendously. Others grew at a decent percentage regularly.
Okay.
But a lot of like our small businesses, like where I feel that I am,
right,
the ones that I felt that actually put in the work, got the true PPE connections and got the right ones, I felt we were able to go and grow our businesses. And that was like a foundational year for Avid Promotions.
Okay.
It was our biggest year, but I felt that we made a lot of internal changes as well. And without those internal changes, I don't think the growth that the business has been able to sustain for the last 3 years would have occurred. And I think COVID allowed us to really, like I said, changing your mindset, it allowed us to really understand that we can't have all our eggs in one basket.
Right.
Because everyone that was in the promotional industry, and I spoke to a lot of individuals that were, for example, in the concert industries. Yeah, concerts make great shirts. I mean, you're making a shirt for less than $15, selling it for $80, $90.
Right.
Gone. Individuals that employed that did well over $2 to $3 million in just blank apparel sales, gone. So I felt that experience through COVID allowed Avid to make sure that we diversified enough to be where we're at today.
Can you walk us through sample products of what Avid Promotion did during the COVID season?
So one of the things we did was masks, what everyone did, hand gels, everyone did, but decals. So let's make sure we're 6 feet apart. Let's create a poster that says everything that all the guidelines that the state is putting on us, that the government's putting on us. Let's make it nice and sell these posters. So a lot of what you've seen at schools, at retail, we either had some part in it, not every single one, because I mean, there was a huge market,
Right.
but at least like in our clients, within our client base, we did a ton of it. So it was a lot of a learning experience as well. Like when you put a 6-inch decal on the floor, is it the exact same adhesive you use on a cement as you do on wood? And it was a learning experience throughout that process as well.
Okay.
Personally, to me, that was probably one of our bigger products. We sourced a ton of different items. We actually created what was called the germless touch key, and that was made out of brass.
Okay.
And I figured when I open a door, you open it, you basically utilize it a handle so you could open it. And we made it out of brass because it's antimicrobial.
Oh, okay.
And when we created that product, it did well.
Okay.
I don't thought we had enough time to push it, but it wasn't price friendly because of the material that was made out of.
Okay.
But everyone that got their hands on it always had something positive to say. Like I said, it was just recreating COVID, I believe. It challenged every business owner.
Right.
It made you completely change your scope of business.
Okay.
But it helped us where we're at today to grow.
What was the most successful product you mentioned? Through
If I had to do sales volume, I'd say it was masks.
Masks.
Yeah, we started branding them as well.
Okay.
We noticed that individuals liked them branded, so we brought a lot of the technology to print in-house, and that's what made us change our business. We never did stuff in-house. We always outsourced it.
Okay.
But when we wanted to work on a smaller scale, we had to understand that don't want to outsource it and pay that much, and I don't even have a potential to sell this mask, and if I do, there's no profit margin.
Got it.
So we started bringing them in-house.
Okay.
And we started branding, and it definitely, it was a challenging, fun time.
Okay. Yeah. Can you share with us your background? You're Salvadorian, and you come and you were born here, correct?
Correct.
In California? Okay.
Yeah, so my parents came in 1981 and 83, respectively.
Okay.
They got here, and I was born in 1989 in Orange County, or City of Orange at Chalk.
Okay.
And yeah, I grew up Salvadorian. It was fun. It was always, I feel that there's so much awareness now.
Yeah.
I felt growing up, it was just, if you were Latino, you were Mexican. Nothing against Mexicans. I have my partner, she's Mexican. My kids are half Mexican. But it was just something that I was like, I'm not Mexican, I'm Salvadorian. And you just felt it inside. Like that was something that it was in your heart. And, you know, you would go to a soccer game and you would go there, start screaming. I was a little kid. Apparently I was on TV once saying bad words, but I was that kid. But I would just say every other bad word, say something to the ref, translate it to the soccer field.
Right.
But it was nice. It was, it's been nice. Like, I feel very proud to be Salvadorian more now than ever. Before it was, people were able to say negative things about us. And now it's, you say something negative of what you used to say, you can't say it because we're not that no more. And it's a ton of pride. Like, I'm very prideful. In my house, I have the escudo. My parents' house, they have the escudo. It's something I'm extremely proud of, and I'm always proud to share.
Have you gone recently?
Yeah. Too many times. I started going 2022.
22. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
22. Yes. But I had never gone to 22. I had never gone to El Salvador.
Okay.
My dad swore he was never going to go back. He said, he's an individual that has an amazing mindset. And he's always, I'm not going to give a dime to a country that can't take care of themselves. He goes, I'm not going to go feed corruption. And I was always like, I want to go.
I want to go visit.
All my friends, everyone that, for example, like a lot of my friends that are Mexican, one of their greatest memories as kids was going back to their motherland. My cousins, some of them that would go, great memories. There's a huge group of us in my family that we weren't able to experience that.
Right.
And now that I've gone, I remember the first time I went, we got a great seat on Avianca, and it was amazing getting there, and that feeling was just like amazing. And I remember I looked over at my dad because it was just me and him that went, and he hadn't gone in 40 years, and he lands there, and you just see it in his eyes, like the happiness. And we go back the next time, and you start seeing more people. And then you go back another time, you see more people. This last time, it was just like, We went during Christmas and it was packed. But going back to a full circle is I noticed more kids going now.
Yeah.
And these kids are now going to get these experiences that there's a large group of us that we just never went back.
Right.
Because of that, because of safety. These kids are going to be able to live it. And it saddens me because that's an experience that we'll never get.
Right.
But now it's our job to create that for our future generations as well. So I did take my daughter. I took her and she enjoyed it. We stood in La Libertad and we went to El Cuco. I didn't have a picture playing soccer there with her, and it was one of my fond memories. Like, you talk core memories, that's just kicking that soccer ball there with another little kid that was from the area that just, he seen the soccer ball, wanted to kick it with us. And yeah, it was nice. And I think it was humbling.
Yeah.
Because I wish we would have had that experience. Till this day, I wish. Because, I mean, my parents taught me about humbleness. They always told me about where they came from, how they came, where they lived, how they grew up.
Right.
But being able to experience it that way, that's humbleness. And that's why, like, for example, for my daughter, it's like, yeah, you have everything.
Right.
But when you go back there and we took a trip and we went to go eat at una isla chiquita, and there was literally a little girl with una muñeca just playing there in the sand.
Right.
Broke my heart because that was my daughter's age. But the reality is that girl's happy.
Yeah.
Happy. Like, there's, yeah, and that for my daughter to see that, and I wanted her to experience that. Because when you get back home, it's like, hey, you have everything, but just know, you always got to remain humble. You got to remember where you came from. But most importantly, you got to remember not everyone has everything. And don't ever take this for granted, because life could take turns and you could have it today and you can't have it tomorrow.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that she understands that. But I just wish I would have experienced it as a kid. And that's my biggest, I felt, part that I missed out on. But yeah, no, I enjoy going now.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm going out again. Oh yeah, I'm trying to go now. Yeah.
The first time I went was actually around 2022 as well. And that was the second time I had gone. The first time was when I was in kindergarten, but it was for the same reason. My parents would tell me, it's too dangerous there. You can't visit. I'm not going to let you go. And I think now, these past 5 years, we see that change.
100%.
And a lot of it has to do with the new leadership.
100%.
What are your thoughts on that?
I personally love him. I mean, I'll go online and fight for that guy.
Yeah.
He is one of the greatest minds right now in terms of a leadership. And I heard a discurso that he gave on his last one. And he's explaining how the individual that was sick, and, he kept going to the doctor until someone was able to, help him. And then he goes back and bashes at the other doctor, and somehow the doctor convinced them that, hey, why are you not bashing him, the one that fixed you, because he didn't fix you with this? And he said, our biggest issue was Las Pandillas.
Definitely.
We took care of that.
Right.
Now we're going to work on our economy.
Exactly.
But what he doesn't talk about, and he's doing within this whole time, is this infrastructure. He's creating an infrastructure that it's going to be amazing. He added the port. They were working on the port, and then they're adding the airport.
Right.
He's creating all that within that time. And it's like, if he had another nation that was bigger, his impact would be that much larger.
Right.
He leads our little nation, our humble nation, and all we could say is thank God.
Yeah.
That's all we could say.
Right.
Because that man could go anywhere and change anything. I'm proud of our leadership. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I would have never gone to El Salvador, probably in my lifetime. And he's changed it. He's brought out that pride in individuals. He now allows me, if you want a bad talk El Salvador, what you're going to say about the gangs? They're all locked up.
Yeah.
They're locked up.
Right.
You want to go to El Salvador? Hey, look at the books. We're one of the safest countries right now in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. You cannot bash on our country. What can you bash on? Oh, that your guys' beaches aren't pretty, that our roads aren't pretty. We're building that.
Yeah.
That starts somewhere. Like, you see all these new developments happening over there.
Yeah. And plenty of them.
A ton.
Yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah.
So bash is all you want. But we're that little kid that's growing up.
Right.
Like literally, yeah, we're 40 years behind. Yeah, bridges were dropped. And there's always going to be someone that's going to sit there and tell you one side of the story, tell you the other. Hey, that's history now. Like, there shouldn't be that. If we have a country that's united and is moving forward, let's just drop that. Like, work together. And that's why he has such a high popularity. I think it's like 80-something%.
Yeah.
So,
Coming from the capital murder of the world and now be one of the safest countries, I think that's a massive leap. And I definitely see the pride, like you mentioned, you see the Salvadoran pride.
Yep.
When you outsource, or at least when you outsource items, have you resorted to Central America, to El Salvador in specific, at any given project, any given moment?
So I tried to start my graphic design division there.
Nice. Oh, okay.
I tried.
Okay.
And I hit a wall.
Okay.
It's hard to manage sometimes. And I feel that you need to have someone you truly trust that understands the business to be there.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not possible, because clearly it's possible.
Right.
It's just, I've outsourced apparel there and it's worked out fine.
Okay.
I'm still in the process. I want to work with it more.
Okay.
Like right now, the whole business tax breaks and all that they're having for tech.
True.
That is enticing to me.
Okay.
I'm part of a startup that is in the tech industry, so that is something that we've talked about. Still haven't looked into it. We're still literally in the startup stages.
Okay.
Something that down the line I'll look into heavily, 100%. I feel that El Salvador has talent, and you go down there, you talk to individuals, they're talented. It's continuing to evolve. The curriculum at school sites is changing drastically. So he's put everything in play for El Salvador to continue to grow for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think you're going to drastically see it.
Yeah.
But all the individuals that are in that age group, say 10, by the time they're 20 and they've learned a lot of the new traits and all the skill sets that are put in front of them, I think it's going to be a huge change, that it's going to open a lot of opportunities.
What advice do you give to an early person that wants to start their own business, either in graphic design or in apparel? If you want to give, we do share with us.
It's a roller coaster, and I always talk to people. So growing up, my dad was always an individual that said, "Don't go make someone money. You go make yourself that dollar."
Right.
So when they got here from El Salvador, they worked in the restaurant industry, and then he started a Mexican food, or didn't start. He bought into a Mexican food restaurant that sold hamburgers, tacos, and everything.
Nice.
Ran it for 16 years and sold it, and then within that time, they were able to accumulate other stuff, and they've lived well. He always taught me, along with my mother, about entrepreneurship. I seen it firsthand. I seen that you have to wake up early, you have to be dedicated, you have to be ready to grind. For example, yes, I'm the CEO of the company, but guess what? If my driver isn't here today and we have an order that's due, guess what? I'm going to jump in that van and I'm going to go deliver it. If we have an order and it requires press and we have to stay here over a few hours and they need my assistance, I'm going to help. Wherever my assistance is needed, I'm there. My title does not dictate my job duties. When you're the leader, you're the CEO, you're the owner, you better be ready to do it all. If you got to take out the trash at the end, you got to take out the trash. You're not too good for any position. You're not too good for any duty. And I think that's the mindset you have to buy into your own business. And you also have to be willing to grind. Yeah, like you have to understand that it's not just an 8-hour day. It's not just a 10-hour day. It's 12, 14, 16 hours. If a client calls, you better answer. Because if you're not answering, guess what? Someone is. That's my motto. So when a client calls, like before we even set up, well past business hours, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm going to get back to them tomorrow." No. You answer. Because if I don't do it, guess what? Someone else will.
Right.
So it's a mindset, but it's also, you have to have a lot of discipline too. Like you have to be understanding that you can't go out there and party, because if you're out there partying, you're not going to give 100% to your business the next day. It's different when you work for someone. You could show up and give someone 50% and you'll be okay because you got a paycheck coming within 2 weeks.
Right.
But when it's your business, it's different. You have to be ready to go 100%. Eventually, I'm not saying you can't party, you can't do that. You know, it's a great time when you're able to do it.
Right.
But that building stage, you got to be dedicated. You got to be understanding that you're going to sacrifice a lot of things. Like I sacrificed family time. That was the biggest one that I sacrificed. But I would do it all over again the exact same way. But stuck.
Great advice. I like it. Real advice.
Thanks.
How do you see Avid Promotion in 5 years?
We have an interesting, at the moment as we speak, we actually have an interesting deal at our table to potentially grow.
Nice.
Horizontally within our scope of what we do with the branding and all that. It's a portion of our business that we currently outsource that potentially now we might acquire. So I believe adding different channels within our marketing and branding aspect.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that we outsource that if we bring that, we could increase our profit margin. I think the main thing that I want to see is just growth. I want to be able to just go from running 85% of my business, 90% of my business in California to now tapping in other markets.
Okay.
Granted, we could sell everywhere, and we do. We have clients in Texas, Virginia, Florida, New York, Maryland, everywhere, literally everywhere. But I want to build a presence there. But it takes time. It's little by little. I'm not trying to eat the world. I'm not trying to change my business within a day. It's building stages. The times that I've tried to amplify and do things quickly, they fail.
Okay.
So I believe today now we have, I don't know. I'd say we have better software than we did before. We now have, like, for an example, when something arrives now, the check-in process that we have today is better than what we had 2 years ago,
right?
A year ago. The individuals that are now running production, that are running basically the back end of my business, are much better at what they do today than they were a year ago. And it's because now they have tools. Our production has become so much more efficient. And that, I believe, now allows you to grow and plan bigger for the next 5 years. But I take it year by year because, for example, our production, what we do today, it's drastically increased year over year.
Okay.
We bought one machine now, and that machine now has increased our production by at least 3 times.
Okay.
We were able to add another job to a point where it's like, do we buy another machine, add another job?
Okay.
And now that allows you to continue to go because there are jobs that we're not able to bring in-house.
Okay.
There's a lot of clientele base that I'm not interested in today because I'm too big on mass production as opposed to personalization.
Okay.
And it's like that personalization makes a huge part of the market and huge margins. And it's potentially what I want to tap into in the next 5 years.
Okay.
Potentially. But it's still up there. I feel that for sure. Like in the next 5 years, God willing, we'll be a bigger company. We'll be a stronger company. We'll have more presences in different states. And I believe our production will increase.
And it definitely will. You mentioned about efficiency and technology. What are your thoughts on AI? Do you think that's something that could become a threat, or would you rather use it in favor? This could be design?
Correct.
Or through concept for clients?
I love the designs. I don't show those designs to my clients because those aren't real designs that someone made.
Right.
But for example, I've put like LA Rams logo over downtown LA and it creates this amazing image. It's going to change the game. It's always going to change the game.
Right.
Is AI what it's supposed to be? I don't know. Personally, I feel that it has a long way to go.
Okay.
But it's a tool that if it continues to be corrected, it continues to work in favor and people continue to sharpen that knife and it eventually could cut perfect, why not? I'm not a person that's opposed to it by no means. If it increases efficiency and I don't have to, I could keep my company as lean as possible and that's helping my individuals be efficient, I'm open to it.
Why not?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not an individual that's closed-minded. To me, it's if it works, it makes efficiency, it makes sense financially, why not?
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's amazing.
Before we wrap up, what pupusas do you like? What are your favorite pupusas?
Loroco.
What does it loco?
Those are 100% my 2 favorite. Yeah.
Do you make them yourself? Or have you tried it?
I tried. My aunt's from Houston. I'm that jokester in the family that just goes around, talks smack, and drives people crazy. So I would be like, they would be making them, and I'm like, hey, se está muriendo de hambre el gente. I was just I was forget all my stuff. But I'm that jokester that does that. But I've tried. It didn't come out great. I mean, thankfully someone had already made the masa and mixed it all up, so it tasted like a good pupusa, but it wasn't a perfect circle.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a hard job, man. That's
Taste go for sure.
Yeah, it's the way they get it around, man. God bless their little hands with the latest stuff. It was a perfect circle, man. You're just like, in the way they look at it, it's like
with love, with all.
Yeah, I put it on. He says, and I was like,
but do you use your hands or forks?
Oh man, that's a hand thing.
Unless
I'm in the car driving, and I have to be careful. I just cut it up before, and
then they just munch it.
Yeah, but 100%. It's a hand thing. My dad taught me that when I was young.
Yeah.
He was upset at me one time. I was a little trying to eat a fork. And he told me, just call me out.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because that has happened across all my cousins.
Yeah,
I think one time I did it, and same thing. I got called off, and I was like,
it's an insult.
It's like, okay.
On my house, I mean, my partner, she eats them with a fork. I don't say anything, but to me, it's like, open it up, throw the curtido.
Right.
Now I just add extra hot sauce, like good hot sauce, something spicy, and then boom.
Okay. Did you tap into hot sauce before, or did you add hot sauce before?
I started working at Ria in 2009.
Okay.
I worked there for 2 years.
Okay.
And I made some of my best friends till this day, and Mexicans.
Yeah.
So they introduced me to hot sauce.
Nice.
And oh man, I used to turn red and sweat, and my stomach would get completely flipped because I wasn't used to it.
Right.
To us, tapatio was hot sauce.
Yeah.
Tapatio was hot.
This was a whole new level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother, he would put tapatio in his rice and eat it.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, oh, he's crazy. I can't do that. And so I started working there. Everybody would be like, oh, tienes que ponerle salsa. And I was like,
as well.
In front of the ladies, I was like, no, I gotta do this, right? Next thing you know, we're all high and all that. And I was like, nah, I can't do this, man. And fast forward, now it's
naturally.
Oh, dude, I throw habanero in it, chile de árbol, serrano, whatever I get my hand on, boom, just throw it on, and it changes the flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, someone should start a putaco, because of pusa and a taco. Right? Then someone started it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was a putaco.
Oh, we into it.
Yeah.
And then one last question. When you went to El Salvador, did you try both pollo campero and pollo con pasta?
Dude, I want to try campero. Honestly,
Doji?
They're good. I just feel that the food out there is better.
Yes, definitely.
It's you munch into a piece of chicken. It's like, oh, this is what a fresh chicken tastes like. And people get sick out there, including myself, because you get soaked it away trying to try all the foods.
Yeah.
And for example, you got to recognize that the waters are different, and our systems are just they're programmed differently. Like our digestive systems are too different. And I was eating mariscos out there. I was eating it all. And yeah, it was amazing. Amazing. But yeah, campero it's my go-to. I enjoy it. I mean, it's like that piece of home that someone would bring, and hopefully, thankfully,
with the bag.
Yeah, and I would bring it or something, and it was just like, dude, I wanted a piece of chicken. Yeah. And thankfully, my dad has a lot of sisters that would go back then, so we would end up with like 5 pieces of chicken, and thankfully, that person would be like, all right, here's a piece of chicken for you, and bro,
you're all set.
Yeah, that's it. But I would envy everyone that would get like a whole box of chicken, because I was like, bro, how
did I do that?
Yeah, I mean, things doesn't go out there. I can't get a box of chicken. I can't hurry up and bring me a box of chicken. I really didn't do that. Like,
right.
So when I go out there, first time I went, I was like, I'm gonna be that Salvadoran that walks out with a box of chicken, right? So I go through somebody, yeah. And I was like, I'm the pobre. So it's like, no, eso era fuera. And I was like, how isn't there a right inside here where I could get it and take it, and you gotta walk through with it? Yeah. So that was my lesson. So the next time I did, right before I checked in, I went upstairs, got my chicken, brought it back. Yeah, so it was good.
It is. Would you consider yourself having a heavy accent, Salvadorian accent?
More than my parents.
¿Sí?
Yeah. Cuando hablo español, sale, sí.
Okay.
Cuando veo malas palabras,
primero que
sí. Sí, no, y la gente dice, oh, mijo, tú naciste allá. No, señora, pues yo nací aquí, pero estaba alrededor yo de muchos salvadoreños.
Okay.
Muchos. Y
Sí.
unos tenían el acento, otros no los tenían.
Sí.
Y se me quedó a mí.
Okay.
Y me gusta, me da, siento que es algo auténtico de una persona que sí lo puede tener.
Okay.
Y me gusta cómo se escucha.
Okay. Cuando tú hablas español, digamos, con alguien que no sea salvadoreño, ¿piensas tú que tu acento cambia un poco? Porque me han dicho a mí, cuando yo hablo a alguien que no sea salvadoreño, no me sale ese acento, ¿sabes?
Poco. Siento que sí, especialmente, como tú dices, dependiendo con quién esté hablando y dónde esté hablando también. Por ejemplo, si es una cancha de fútbol, ese acento no se me mueve. Sí, estoy mirando un juego, incluso soy gran fanático del fútbol y... Hijo. Si hace una jugada del árbitro o segundo la llama, de cada rato ahí estoy diciendo algo, pero y es mi hija y mi esposa me dice, no se dice eso, no se hizo eso, y ahí estoy yo diciendo, yo quiero corregir después y no estoy diciendo malas palabras, pero ojo, tú dices, pero estoy mirando fútbol, es diferente. I realize that, 100%.
Awesome. Okay. So when you visit El Salvador, what was one of the fond memories that you could think of?
Yeah, just to me, it's just how hard people work. I see it in my parents. I see it in my family. It's individuals that take pride in work. And I had never seen it in the motherland. I seen it here, and it was just like, man, Salvadoran people work hard, and you do it all. You see everything, and it's just how dedicated they are to their work, how much they love their craft, and the pride they take in it. And I remember when I was in El Salvador, I had an early flight. So we were driving to the airport from La Libertad, and I seen a lot of people walking. The sun was barely starting to come out. And I was like, Señor Gio, I was like, ¿y esta gente, pa' dónde va? Pa' trabajar, mijo, me dice. He said it with that pride. Es que la gente salvadoreña somos trabajadores. And Amber just gave me goosebumps, like that point right there. Because to me, I pride myself in working hard. I pride myself in, I don't mind checking my emails at 11 o'clock at night, midnight. You know, it's if I have nothing to do and I'm just there, just check emails, make sure everything's taken care of. And I definitely consider myself a hard worker. But when you see El Pueblo with that mindset and you see them just walking, it's like, sí, ellos caminan millas para llegar a su trabajo. Y I was like, cuando llueve, ahí andan. And I was like, wow, like that's hard work.
Right.
And the dedication, the pride they take, like that to me was memorable, because if there's one thing that I love to see, like within my people, is us working hard. Out of all the things, because a hard worker, you can't criticize a hard worker. Like you can never criticize. What are you going to say negative about a hard worker? He doesn't work hard. He's a hard worker. How doesn't he work hard? You know, and that to me gives me so much pride, because you can't criticize it. And that's when I love to see, when I talk to the Salvadorians, I get to know them, and you get to see how hard they work, how much they love their craft, man. That's the pride that it felt like it was a full circle in my life to see that moment. Like it was amazing. I remember the whole flight back home. I was like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. It gave you motivation.
Oh, inspiration. Trust me. 100%. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
So thank you, Mr. Hario, for being in my podcast today.
Appreciate it.
Where can we find you on Avid Promotions socials?
Yeah, just Avid Promotions on Instagram, avidpromotions.com on the website. If you ever need anything branded, you want to just get inspiration, ideas, feel free to reach out. We've been doing it for a very long time. I feel I have a great in-house design team. We basically work from your smallest companies to your largest corporations, from Vallarta's Mercury Insurances. I do stuff for LA Metro, basically everywhere and anywhere. You've probably seen our work. You drive by a school, it's one of our banners more than likely here in the Southern California area. So yeah, just website. And if everybody ever just wants any like marketing advice, branding advice, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to lend a hand and just share my thoughts. May take a little bit to get back to you, but I have a team behind me that can either get back to you, or if it's something urgent, just feel free to reach out and I can help out.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Hario, for being here today. So my name is Rodas.
And my name is Hario Vasquez.
And you can follow him on avidpromotions.com. This has been the Salvywood podcast. I'll see you on the next one.
Fight on.
This has been a Salvywood podcast presentation. Thank you for listening.